Let's be real. The housing market is, well, it's tough right now. But there's one company that seems to be navigating these choppy waters pretty well. So what's their deal? Today, we're taking a look inside Zillow's playbook to see exactly how they're growing, and we're getting the story straight from their CEO. Okay, so Zillow's CEO, Jeremy Waxman, is not sugarcoating things at all. He describes the market as bouncing along the bottom. It's a grind for buyers, it's a grind for sellers, and that's the world Zillow is operating in. So, this is the big question, right? If the market's just stuck in neutral, how on earth is Zillow putting up growth numbers? How are they pulling it off? Well, that's exactly what we're about to break down. Zillow's answer to that question all comes down to their strategy. They have a playbook that they believe is built to win no matter what the market is doing. So let's dive in. At the heart of it all, Zillow has this one big mission: to completely transform the entire experience of moving. They're obsessed with the consumer, and they're using technology to take what can be a really painful, complicated process and make it feel, well, simple. And you can really see it in the numbers. I mean, look at this. While the rest of the industry is kind of sputtering along, Zillow's revenue is up 16% year over year. So they're not just treading water in this market, they're actually gaining ground. And I think this quote just says everything. This is not the Zillow you might remember from a few years ago. They're moving way beyond just being a search engine for houses. They're trying to build the entire future of real estate, all under one roof. All right, so how are they actually doing it? Let's get into the first big piece of their strategy, which is to totally reinvent how we all buy and sell homes. Just imagine if buying a home was almost as simple as ordering something online. That's the vision here. They're taking all these separate, stressful steps, finding a place, touring it, getting a loan, closing the deal, and they're stitching them all together into one single, smooth experience. And to make that happen, they're building some seriously powerful technology behind the scenes. You see tools here like Showcase and Buyability. These are designed to make the whole process way more transparent and efficient for everyone, whether you're a buyer, a seller, or an agent. Okay, let's talk about Showcase for a second. This is their really cool immersive listing feature, and it is catching on like crazy. It's already on 3.2% of all new listings in the US, and that number has more than doubled in just the last year. That's a huge signal that people want a better way to look at homes online. So where is all this innovation actually happening? Well, Zillow is rolling this new model out in what they call enhanced markets. You can kind of think of these as their real-world labs, where they're perfecting this all-in-one home buying experience. And get this, already a third of Zillow's customer connections are happening in these new enhanced markets. That's a massive shift away from just selling leads to agents. It shows their new, more integrated approach is really starting to take hold. Okay, now let's switch gears and talk about the other major part of Zillow's business, rentals. And wow, the growth on this side of the house it's just explosive. Yeah, Zillow's rental business is absolutely on fire. The whole segment is up 41%, which is amazing. But look at the multifamily part. That's the big apartment buildings. That's up a whopping 62%. It's become a massive growth engine for the company. So what's the secret sauce here? Well, they're basically creating a win-win situation. For renters, they're making the search easier and more trustworthy. And for property managers, they're delivering better, more qualified applicants, which means a better return on their investment. And the proof is in the pudding. Zillow has almost doubled the number of large apartment buildings on its site in just 2 years. They're now at an all-time high of 69,000 properties. And from the sounds of it, they are far from done. So what's next for Zillow? Let's look ahead for a minute. How are they getting ready for the next big wave, especially with AI changing everything? Well, for starters, they are the first and only real estate app that's built directly inside of ChatGPT. And that is a huge deal. It means they're meeting people right where they're starting their home search, giving them a massive head start. The CEO believes that in the age of AI, it's not going to be enough to just have a bunch of listings. He says you need 4 things: a great user experience, a high-quality audience, data that nobody else has, and a really seamless way to actually close the deal. And this whole strategy, this entire playbook, it's all designed to hit some really ambitious targets. Zillow is aiming for over $1 billion in new revenue from the for sale side and another $1 billion in annual revenue from rentals. We're talking huge numbers. So, at the end of the day, Zillow is making a massive bet that they can build a real estate super app. If they're right, it could change everything about how we find a place to live. Which leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. Is this really the future?